Let's get to our next guest. Also making his first appearance here on the 19th hole weekend edition. Bob VanSweden, I told you, is from St. Petersburg, Florida. His first career was in the rock and roll business, which I want to talk to him about. Very, very interesting. Find out what he did. Picked up golf and then started getting into golf repair. Got into a small golf shop. Worked his way up the ladder, and now Bob has become one of the top custom fitters in the country, winning multiple national awards for custom fitting and other numerous awards from all of the big club making companies. And a very interesting subject that I think a lot of our listeners need to be enlightened about, want to know about. And Bob is the guy to give us all the information on that. So without further ado, again, let's give a nice round of applause to Bob VanSweden. Bob, how are you?
I'm great, man. Wow, what an amazing introduction there. How are you guys doing out there in Vegas this morning?
We're doing good. And glad to have you on the show. And tell us a little bit about your rock and roll career. I mentioned at the top of the show that some of the bands that you were involved with, like, Megadeth and Bryan Adams, who I like, Sting, one of my favorite. How did that come about, number one? And number two, are you still doing dope? Still doing drugs? Because you got to do drugs when you're in rock and roll, aren't you?
No, unfortunately, the job that I had on tour really didn't allow you to party too much. I was actually a professional bodyguard. I actually took care of the artists on tour, traveled all over the world with them, basically overseeing the security of the shows themselves and the personal protection of the artist or the band while on tour. So wasn't a lot of partying going on, unfortunately, because I was the one person that had to be sober all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, you kind of got the short end of things. Somebody had to know where they were going, right?
Yeah, somebody had to take in the FedEx packages of heroin and the Jack Daniels and all that stuff,
I love it.
So,
were you primarily doing this work domestically, or did you travel with these guys overseas?
No, I traveled all over. I mean, Europe, Southeast Asia, Australia. I mean, pretty much everywhere. I've been on 6 of the 7 continents.
Wow.
I did it for 11 years. Started right out of high school, working for bands. When I was in high school, how I got my start was I was a runner for one of the local concert promoters, and just fell in love with the music industry. And I was one of these kids, man. I just wanted to get the heck out of St. Pete, Florida.
Yeah.
17 years old, and I want out. So I packed up and joined the circus, so to speak. And it was an amazing career for a long time, but towards the end, it started to really get burned out.
Yeah.
You're on the road, 9 to 11 months out of the year, living out of a suitcase. And I was ready to settle down and met my wife, and she wasn't really going to have that kind of lifestyle.
Sure.
So I had to make a choice. And, just amazingly enough, it was the right choice. I went down a different road, and I'm so happy that I did because I love my current career so very much. I do miss the road sometimes, especially when my buddies come into town and I go visit them at shows. You kind of miss that camaraderie with the crew and the band.
Oh, sure you do. Sure you do. Sure you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Bob, how did you pick up golf as a sport? And then once you did, I mean, the bug, you really got the bug because it says you were playing almost every day. How did you get into golf?
Well, I decided to come off the road, and I had enough money saved up, and I probably didn't have to work for about 4 or 5 years. And played just a ton of golf. A couple of my buddies were bartenders, so they had, daytimes free, and they were working at night. So we just started playing a lot of golf, and really fell in love with the sport, and started hanging out in a little golf shop close by here. And one day the guy was busy and needed some help. I said, you know what, go in the back, finish doing the grips, and I'll talk to these people. And I ended up selling 2 sets of golf clubs that day.
Wow.
And the rest is history. I just said, you know what, this is a lot better than kicking out groupies out of a hotel room at 3:30 in the morning.
I bet you got some great stories to tell. You ought to write a book one day.
You have no idea the stories that I have.
I bet, and I can think of a couple of great titles for you, but we'd get kicked off the air probably if. But Bob, I know that there are a number of benefits to being fitted with golf clubs, but out of all of those benefits, Bob, what in your expert opinion is the biggest one and why?
I think the biggest thing, which I tell a lot of my clients, is there's two equations to a golf swing problem. Part A is the equipment doesn't fit you correctly. Part B, your swing needs to be looked at and worked on. The biggest thing is we can eliminate part A of that equation pretty much in this studio here and guarantee that when you walk out the door, the clubs fit your body, your posture, and how you swing them correctly. And if you're still slicing or having problems, you know you need to go to your local PGA teaching pro and start continuing to work on the swing. That would be the biggest thing. The second thing I would tell you is the shaft. The shaft is the engine. You know, the shaft is a huge portion of it, and then obviously what people don't take for they don't really think about it too much is the grip size. You really the grip is what connects you to the golf club, and you want to make sure that your hands size fits the grips correctly, because you have too big of a grip, you're not going to be able to release your hands enough. Right. And too small of a grip, you turn your hands over too quickly.
Yeah, I've got some questions for you specifically on those two items, but it just shows you, see, great minds think alike when you were getting ahead of me. Do you think one of the main reasons, Bob, that more recreational golfers don't consider custom fitting is simply because they feel they're not good enough?
No question. I get that all the time. They come in the studio, they talk to me on the phone, they go, I just don't know if I'm really good enough for this. And I go, the higher your handicap, the more you need this. You know, a touring pro can pick up any golf club and hit it relatively very straight and very accurate for the most part, because they've been doing it for so long and they know how to swing it. When your handicap is higher, you want to eliminate every element that you possibly can so that you can pinpoint exactly what you have to work on.
Yeah.
And there again, it comes back to the two parts of the equation, and we want to try to eliminate that, make sure that the length is correct, the shaft flex is the correct for you, the weight of the shaft is correct.
Right.
So such a key factor that people don't talk about, and a lot of golf big box stores don't really talk about when people come in to buy clubs is, you want to put the person in the right gram weight shaft as well as flex.
Exactly.
Because that's going to either hinder or help with ball speed and club head speed, which is going to give you distance.
Exactly, and all of that is connected. And again, we're going to get into that, Bob. And by the way, we're talking with Bob VanSweden from Florida here on the 19th hole weekend edition about custom club, not custom club, but club fitting in general, and then we'll get into talk about custom clubs. I think also that most people, Bob, who go into a golf retailer aren't aware as they should be of the caliber and knowledge of the person trying to sell them a set of clubs.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly think most don't have a real clue on how to fulfill a person's needs when selling them a new set of clubs. What should people be aware of, Bob, in a case like that? And how do you, as a club fitter, keep from bad-mouthing people like that?
Well, I try not to badmouth people, because what comes around goes around. Bottom line is this: you just have to do your homework, and with today's internet, you can find a really qualified club fitter somewhere inside of an hour. You might have to go 2 hours out of where you live, but somewhere around where you live, there's a qualified club fitter somewhere. You just have to do the homework, look at reviews online, see how satisfied people are with their purchases. I think is a big key. I have a big following of referrals and reviews, and that's how a lot of people find me, is basically, oh man, the reviews I read on you were outstanding, and this is why I'm here. I'm not really trying to dig at the big box stores, but you got an $9 an hour employee who's a golfer that really maybe hasn't taken this as their craft, and they like getting the discount in the store as an employee, and they want to think that they're a fitter. But it takes many years to be a very good fitter. I always joke around, if I could repay the customers the first few years I was in business, I would. Because I basically got paid to learn how to fit and how to repair golf clubs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think what you say is correct. And a lot of times they really don't have any interest here. They may, like you say, they may have an incentive to sell a certain driver or fairway wood set of clubs. They got the spiffs going on and the whole deal. But
no doubt.
Yeah, but when you get into real life fitting, that's a whole different genre, and we're going to talk about that. Bob, I'm up against a hard break. I want you to stay with us if you would.
Absolutely.
And when we come back on the other side of the break, I've got a lot more stuff for you, and it's interesting stuff. We'll get into some nuts and bolts and stuff. All right, we're going to step away, take a short break here on the 19th Hole Weekend Edition on CBS Sports Radio, and we come back more with Bob VanSweden and tell you why you need to get fitted for clubs. So stay with us. We're back with you right after this.
Your second dose of the 19th Hole Weekend Edition coming up next on CBS Sports Radio 1140. This hour of the 19th Hole Weekend Edition is brought to you by Las Vegas Harley-Davidson. Also by Branch Hernandez Consulting and Insurance Services, the most experienced agency in Southern Nevada. And now, coming to you live, here's the golf guru himself, Dennis Silvers.
Live. Thank you very much.
Live.
Welcome to the backside, back nine of the 19th Hole Weekend Edition on CBS Sports Radio. I think the Raiders are coming back to LA.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they.
Everybody's talking about St. Louis.
Yeah, I don't know. It would be great. And by the way, that was my good buddy Retief Goosen on the promo for the golf course superintendents, I think. Yeah.
Now you're starting to get them.
Starting to get them. Yeah, starting to get them.
Like 28 of them.
Yeah, forget that.
You got two.
Forget that contest. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. Having a great conversation with Bob VanSweden from Florida. Bob is considered really one of the top-notch club fitters in America and has his own operation going in, I believe, it's Golf Performance Studio in St. Petersburg.
It's Golf Repair, the Golf Repair Center.
Oh, Golf Repair Center. Okay.
In St. Pete, Florida, yeah.
I would change it to Golf Performance Studio. I think that sounds better, Bob.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
That's
seriously.
A thought.
Yeah, I think it just flows better. You know what I mean? Sounds like you're a bigger outfit, more professional. You could probably kick up your prices then, you know what I mean? And
well, I don't know about kicking my prices up, man. I'm in St. Pete, Florida, man. That's Jared's City practice.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, you had mentioned this earlier in the show, Bob, about the shaft of the club. You constantly hear that the shaft of the golf club is the engine, and we know that's true, but aren't the other parts of the golf club, Bob, just as important?
I would say that they are important. I would say that the golf shaft, I really truly believe, is the most important. Second to that, it's going to be the head of the golf club, and then lastly would be the golf grip.
Okay, I agree with that. Tell us why the shaft is so important. Tell us how you determine what kind of a shaft you fit on an individual, and tell us the difference in your opinion, or not in your opinion, the difference that makes from your customers coming back and saying, "Damn, Bob, God, I'm getting 20 yards more with that shaft. Thank you."
Well, part of the process is I use a software system when we're fitting called Shaft DNA. We have players hit numerous shots using that, and then we enter that data into a live website, it then kicks back and gives me a menu of shaft choices to start testing. And really, it's based off of if it's graphite or steel for that player, if it's stiff, regular, or, a softer shaft. And then most importantly, it's telling me what weight shaft and kick point we should look at. So then it gives me a drop-down menu. We start testing anywhere from 5 to 8 different shafts, and I put them on the flight scope, and we start looking at data numbers. And I when we're dealing with a driver, I'll base everything off of a 10-5 setting first, so that we have an even playing field. And then from there, when we find the 2 ideal shafts, we'll start making adjustments to the head, trying to optimize launch angles and reduce spin, and try to get the correct smash factor going for the player. Well, as far as irons go, it's really testing the shafts out on the launch monitor after finding them, and then really it's a combination then of the performance of the head with that particular style shaft.
Okay.
Finding an equal balance between the two is crucial there for finding proper ball flight, distance, and then most important, in my opinion, the accuracy.
The accuracy, and I agree with that. With all of the technology that you have, and you do use some great technology, as you mentioned, you've got a flight scope launch monitor. You use the Matt T putter fitting systems, which I have used, and I think it's absolutely great. And video and so on and so forth. And I don't care. Everybody's looking for more distance, and certainly having the right kind of shaft in your golf club is going to help you, Bob. But you and I both know there is absolute, I don't care what kind of shaft you put in, there's no substitute for speed in the golf swing to get more distance. You agree?
Absolutely. You have to have club head speed and ball speed, and there lies the third element that I talk to a lot of my players about is, you have to be core fit to be able to generate club head speed and ball speed. The less core fitness you have, and the less range of motion you have, you're gonna suffer in distance.
Right.
And the greatest thing is the human body is an amazing piece of equipment. It can heal itself, and you can get in better shape at any age. You can get more range of motion at any age if you just work at it.
Right.
That's the toughest part of getting a good golf game is nobody really wants to work out to get it. And
True.
And today, with all the restrictions the USGA has put on trampoline effect on drivers and other things, you have to start getting in better shape to be able to get that distance you want, because nowadays these drivers are pretty much capped out for spring effect.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you bring me actually to one of my questions. It's a great point that you bring up. Do you foresee any end to the continual so-called improvement in golf clubs today? And I mean, aren't club companies, Bob, and you deal with all of them, going to run out of different kind of metals, going to run out of different shapes, going to run out of
we're
different
there now.
rating? Okay. Where are they going to go from here? What do you do?
They just spin things, a little different, new paint job, new little cosmetic look, and then they, pour you a funnel of Kool-Aid. We're really capped out on technology, for the most part, unless we can get the United States Golf Association, Royal and Ancient, to lift some of the restrictions on the equipment rulings that they have. I mean, we've taken away grooves. We've taken away the long putter, the belly putter from players. We've taken away the trampoline effect off of the face of the drivers. So there's a lot of things that are hindering the golf manufacturers from being able to wow people. The last really wow product that I've seen out was the RBZ and RBZ Stage 2 Fairway Wood and Rescues that TaylorMade put out just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Those really had a tremendous pop, and people were seeing 20, 25 yards extra distance, and we just hadn't seen anything like that for a while, and that's why those two model products sold so well for TaylorMade. And then after that, everything else is pretty much been either the same distance or a little less.
And I've been saying that for years, Bob. These guys are running out of technology, and they, like you said, they're either just a different shape, just a different color, a different name. It's all, all has to do with the marketing and the advertising and stuff. And if you're buying a driver from last year as opposed to, $500 for a new M1, right now, you for the average guy, you're going to see zilch as far as a difference. Because I've always contended, Bob, and you know this better than I do, to really take advantage of the new club and ball technology. I think the only guys that are doing it today are really, really top amateurs or the tour professionals. The average weekend player is not going to come close to taking the advantage of what this technology offers you. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, yes, to a point. The one thing I can say is there is some hope for the weekend player if they've never really been dialed in for the optimum launch angle on their driver and putting them in the right shaft to reduce spin. We can add some distance and accuracy then. But if you have been fitted properly and you have that, you're pretty capped at that point.
Yeah.
Same thing, iron-wise, making sure that you have that person in the proper flex, the right line angle. Flex and line angle play hand in hand because the shaft droops as you swing through, so you want to make sure that you get the proper line angle so the person has a higher chance of hitting it in the center of the face of the club and increasing that smash factor.
Yeah, that's a very, very, very good point that you make. Bob, why do you think that so many sets of stock clubs that come into a store are not what people expect to buy? And by that, I mean maybe the weighting is different, maybe the loft or lie is different from one club to the other, things like that. How does that happen?
Well, I think sometimes, you get a new person on the assembly line, right? Brand new to their job, and they're training, and they're trying to learn, and they make mistakes, and sometimes those things slip through the line and get through to the finished product, and then you have mistakes. That's why a lot of these OEM companies are so gracious and willing to fix the problems right away, because they know that those kind of things are going to slip through during assembly on the production line. Sometimes, they can't be exact. The one thing I can tell you is, I've been through quite a few manufacturers, but I have a very deep relationship with TaylorMade. The custom fitting department at TaylorMade is spot on. I've been in that room. I know half the guys that work in that room, and each order is meticulously built by one person, and they make sure that the quality control is very high. So I would say if anybody out there, if you truly want to make sure that your clubs are the correct specs, you want to order them custom, and make sure that they are built custom, because then you don't have the worries of something slipping through the assembly line on just a generic stock set.
Exactly right. Before I let you go, how much golf are you playing these days, and do you maintain a handicap?
No, I don't. The quickest way to stop playing golf
is getting the golf business.
Is the golf business. I play maybe 8 to 10 times a year, realistically.
Wow.
I just don't have the time because I am very blessed that I'm so busy. I do an average, in the wintertime, I do 8 to 10 fittings a day. In the summertime, I might be 4 to 6.
That's fantastic. That is. Are you going to the show at the end of?
I am.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, I'm actually going to the show. I'm actually working for Tim Braley and KBS Shaft Company this year.
Okay.
They developed a new junior shaft that I helped Tim do some prototype testing on. So they've asked me to be at the Orange County National and help them to do some fittings with juniors. So I'd love for you to stop by and say hi to me.
Well, I don't know if I'm going to get by for the demo day, but are you going to be at the actual show, the following couple days?
Yeah, I'll be at the show, too. I'll primarily be around the KBS booth for the most part.
Okay.
And I'll be walking around the show a little bit. All right. First year.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna love it. Will you send me your information then, so when I get down there, I can give you a call and love to meet you in person and
absolutely
and hook up and have a drink or something.
Absolutely. Hey, listen, I loved being on your show.
I appreciate it.
It was great, and I wish you the best of luck with the show. And I hope at some point, if you allow me to come back on, I'd love to come back on your show again. Oh,
you count on it, and I'd love to have that happen. It's always good information, and I appreciate it, Bob, for your time, and I want to wish you and yours a great, great holiday season, and send me your info, and I look forward to meeting you in January.
Absolutely. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you, Bob. Same to you. Thank you very much. Bob VanSweden, everybody. Good information, and fitting is important, and like I say, there's a lot of discussion back and forth whether how much that really helps your game in the long run, but it's a good thing. So I look forward to meeting this guy. All right, we're going to step away again, take another break here on the 19th Hole Weekend Edition. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to a gentleman that holds the current Guinness Book of World Records for hitting a golf ball with the longest usable club ever made. And guy's a character. He's a good guy, so stay with us. Mark and I'm going to be back with you right after this.
So